it is non-negotiable that we cannot settle for any leader in Zimbabwe who lacks the true democratic will of the Zimbabwean people. A leader must be born out of a legitimate electoral process, because that is what democracy and election is all about. This election as it stands was an election without democracy, dominated by many of manipulation that I've just articulated. A true democratic mandate can only be derived from freely expressing Zimbabweans through the power of the ballot. And therefore, any president that must be inaugurated must be born out of a free, fair, and credible election. Therefore, the only resolution and way forward articulated by CCC for avoidance of doubt and confusion is that Zimbabwe needs a fresh and broad and proper election to exit the current crisis. A flawed electoral process has fully obscured the will of the Zimbabwean people, and there is no alternative outside a new, clean, fresh, and a proper election. Only that can give Zimbabwe an exit out of the vicious cycles of disputed election that have been dominating our body politic since 1980. Fellow Zimbabweans, every Zimbabwean, no matter whom they support, has an absolute and sacred and sovereign right to know that the government which taxes them, the government which polices them, which commands their military and manages the affairs of their state, is chosen freely, equally by all Zimbabwean people. In the current political crisis, the only way this sacred right can be fulfilled, the only way we can resolve the current predicament that we're facing as a people, the Citizens Coalition for Change, as led by Advocate Nelson Chamisa, has assessed the situation and has made the following clear and emphatic demand: and restore democracy and legitimacy in our country. We are going to settle for less, none other than a free, fair, credible, and a proper election in our country. Now, the biggest question that faces Zimbabwean society right now is how do we achieve this desired end? How do we, to put it differently, restore legitimacy in our country? Our answer to all Zimbabweans and Africans at large, the solution lies in calling upon our African brothers and those in the region, particularly SADC, the African Union, to help us to facilitate, to mediate, to scaffold, and more importantly, to guarantee a process that will lead our return to legitimacy in the shortest period of time. Fellow Zimbabweans, this is our position as the Citizens Coalition for Change. Very clear that the entire election in this country was flawed, the entire election in this country was illegal, the entire election in this country, I'm not so sure which language should I use to put it unequivocally, so that the election in this country was flawed in its entirety and in total, and CCC has rejected the election, and the solution is holding a new, fresh, and proper election in this country.
You're not taking
Are you going to court?
The course that we are going to take is a collective course that does not only include CCC, that is including every player which was affected. You know that some of the candidates to other parties were not allowed to participate. You know of the presidential, one of the presidential candidates, Sevia Kasukwet. His name was not on the ballot. That's why we have said the flawedness of the process is not only on the announcement of the result. It is on the pre-electoral cycle, during the election, and post the election.
How do you intend you going to court?
We are going to employ all the necessary measures at the right time that answers our roadmap. What we have articulated in resolve right now, for avoidance of doubt, is that Triple C, number one, rejects elections in court. Number two, Triple C as a movement is very clear that the solution from this crisis is a process that is scaffolded, guaranteed by SADC and the African Union that will lead us into a genuine, free, fair and proper election.
In the event that what you are vying for fails, what are you going to do?
I don't know if you're a prophet, but we'll deal with it as we go.
You have a few days.